Let's take a look at the Whitney Stakes from Saratoga tomorrow, the ninth race, the highlight of a really great card they have there. And I've got a very strong opinion in this race. It's probably going to be the largest win bet that I have made so far this year. I'm going to let the tote board guide me because I am a little bit uncertain as to what odds I'm going to get on my top selection in here. But there's a very strong possibility that it will be, as I said, the largest bet that I've made so far this year. And we'll go in post-position order. Number 1, Taproot from Todd Pletcher and John Velasquez. I don't think this one's going to be 6-1. I think you'll probably get more like 10-1 if you like Taproot, and I don't. The Belmont Stakes win still is the highlight of this one's career. And I got to say, I think he's been a little disappointing since then. Forget the fact that he was favored in the Suburban. No one was going to beat Diversify that day. He was just at the top of his game. And the comebacker in the allowance race at Belmont on June 3rd wasn't a bad effort at all. I just don't think Taproot is at this level yet. He may get there eventually. I don't like him in this spot at all. Number 2, Backyard Heaven. I'm willing to draw a line through his Stephen Foster. I liked Pavel that day. Pavel ran big. Maybe it was the heat that Backyard Heaven didn't like. Maybe he just regressed off the big Ali Sheba effort. I don't know. I'm willing to give him another chance in here. I think he's going to be bet heavily because I think the word is out that he's ready to fire his best shot again. He's not my pick either, but I do think he's a viable win candidate. In fact, I would rate him as the second most likely winner of this race. So we're going to come back to Backyard Heaven as we talk about our wagers in here. Number 3, Dalmore. Another one I just don't think is really ready for this kind of competition. Yeah, he's made 22 career starts. Yeah, he's 5 years old. Yes, he's run a number of races in graded stakes company. But I just don't think that he's got what it takes to win this. I certainly think he'll be part of the early speed. And horses that are up close, at a mile and 1/8, especially at Saratoga, they're always dangerous. So there's no reason to think this one, can't be competitive or make his presence felt early. I just don't know that I see him hanging along late in the game. But you'll get a good price if you like him. He's just not for me. Number 4, Mind Your Biscuits. This is you might say the most exciting horse in the race. Anytime that a Grade 1 winner is trying something new, which Mind Your Biscuits clearly is here, trying to go 2 turns, it's exciting. Yeah, everybody wants to see if he's going to be able to stretch out and do it. I just think that a mile and 1/8, 2 turns at Saratoga, is very different from the 1-turn mile at Belmont that he got in the Met Mile. And he ran a phenomenal race in there. There's no doubt about that. And he's run a number of very, very strong races throughout his career. If you're a speed figure handicapper, his are they're very strong. I just think he's a closing sprinter. I don't blame them for taking a chance here at a mile and 1/8. You want to find out if he's up for it, if he's up to the task. And he may be. He's got the talent to really do just about anything, I'd say. I just don't know if he's going to be able to beat some of the horses in here at a mile and 1/8. On talent, he's up there. This may not be his best game. He's not for me, and he's going to be every bit of 2-1 or maybe 5-2. Number 5, Discreet Lover. Very useful horse. Just plugs along and picks up checks. No reason he can't do that in here. I don't think a 3rd place finish in here is totally out of the question. I wouldn't rate him as among the 3 or 4 most likely winners of the race, but there's no reason he can't make his presence felt very late, past some tiring horses, and clunk up for 4th or maybe even 3rd. Number 6, Diversify, your obvious favorite coming off the Suburban win. My opinion on Diversify is he is your typical 1.25 mile, and more specifically your 1.25 mile at Belmont horse. I don't know that I think a mile and 1/8 is his best game. He does have a win at a mile and 1/8. He does have a win here at Saratoga. That came against 3 foes, however, in State Bred Company. I think you have to worry about a regression with Diversify in here. You get the short price. He's not for me. If he gets on the front, whether he leads the race early or whether he sits just behind some of the other speed, to me, I don't see him kicking clear and opening up like he did in the Suburban, or like he did in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, where he had that 2-length lead late in the game and held on to win by a length over Keen Ice and Pavel, last October. So he's not for me. It's certainly at the price. The horse that is for me is number 7, Good Samaritan. This is the prototypical mile and 1/8 horse. He's got to win at Saratoga at the distance. His last 2 were not his best game, in my opinion. I don't think he wants. I don't think he's a one-turn miler. Certainly not in the Met Mile against Grade 1 company. He didn't disgrace himself there. He finished 7th of 11. Closed a little bit of ground late in the game. Of course, never threatened the winner or anybody else up close there at the end. But he didn't disgrace himself. And in the Ali Sheba, just too far back, from backyard heaven. The speed held that day, and he wasn't able to unleash his kick. And then if you go back 3 starts to the New Orleans, the mile and 1/8 race, he didn't beat much in there, but he wasn't favored. And he was way back against kind of slower fractions. They went the half and 48 in there, and he looked kind of out of it and just made his move and blew their doors off late to win going away. That's, I think, the Good Samaritan we're going to see here, and the same Good Samaritan we saw in the Jim Dandy, coming from way out of it, gets a little bit of pace to chase into, and he doesn't need a scorching pace. I mean, the Jim Dandy win last year, they went the half and 48 and 2. So he doesn't need them to go 46 and 3 for him to unleash his kick. He might even be one of those that prefers they go a little bit more moderate up front so that he can save everything he has for that final quarter of a mile. So I don't think we're going to get 12-1 on Good Samaritan. I don't think we'll get anywhere close to 12-1 on Good Samaritan. I'll bet you he'll be half that price. You could flip-flop him and Tappert in terms of the morning line odds. I think Tappert's more likely to be 10-12-1. Good Samaritan probably closer to 6-1. If he creeps up to 8-1, as a bettor who demands value, I have to bet even more. I'd take 6-1. I might even take 5-1 on Good Samaritan. I think he's the most likely winner of the race. I'm not saying he's as talented as Diversify or Mind Your Biscuits, because he's not, at least not yet in his career. But I strongly think that he is playing his best game at this distance. I think the others are not, and that bodes well for him. And when you throw in a tote board that might read 6 or 8-1, I think you're supposed to bet on Good Samaritan. He's going to be certainly my play of the day, and he might be my play of the year. That's how strongly I feel about Good Samaritan. And then number 8 is McCracken. Very useful little horse. I respect McCracken a lot. I don't know that I think he's at the same level as some of the others in here. I definitely don't like him as much as Good Samaritan or Backyard Heaven. I might give him a little bit more of a chance of winning than say Mind Your Biscuits. Maybe. I'm not even sure about that. I won't be using McCracken at all in any of my plays. In fact, in terms of my plays, it's going to be a win bet on number 7, Good Samaritan. Depending on what the place pool looks like, I might consider toning down the win bet slightly and putting a little bit to place on Good Samaritan just in case. And also just in case, I'm going to put Backyard Heaven on top of Good Samaritan in a cold exacta, because I do respect Backyard Heaven. I think he's better than what he showed in the Stephen Foster. I'm a little concerned that he's going the wrong direction. So I'm not going to get too crazy with that exacta play, but just in case I'm right about Mind Your Biscuits and I'm right about Diversify and I'm right about Good Samaritan, I don't want to completely miss the race if Backyard Heaven runs a very big race and wins. So that's the play for me. Win bet on Good Samaritan with an exacta saver underneath of Backyard Heaven. Good luck in your plays on Saturday. It's a great card, and go Good Samaritan.